Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus down Santa Claus Lane or on HorrorTown Lane. Welcome back to part 8 of this quest line thingy. I think. Yeah, it's part 8. Alright, when we last left off, we kind of finished talking about Santa over there. And now we're going to be moving on to the 2019's events. So basically, we're going to be skipping a few of them. One of them is going to be Valentine Night Fever because nothing really important happened there. I did mention about it before with the zombies. Okay, I am dumb because I forgot to include these groups of people in here. I guess my fault because of the fact that these, like, you wouldn't, I totally forgot until I recently was doing stuff. Anyways, I also have these two characters, Madame Doom in the Haunted Studio, and then of course the Sleep Master in the Dream Hotel. Now, as I stated before, when this came out during the Night Fever thing, both of these characters were actually based off of, like, they're based off of the books that they're characters from the Goosebumps series. However, the designs were actually based off of winning designs from a contest they held on Facebook. But you probably knew that if you watched through the playthrough, but hey, whatever. Yeah, let's look over here at the Haunted Studio. So I got some earplugs here. Madame Doom herself. It's interesting they got these characters, but yet they're not walk around, but I guess whatever. And then, of course, we got some sad, depressed, spooky sheet ghosts. So let's see what these guys are all about. Let's just have them get summoned. And Madame Doom kind of looks like that one. In this design, she kind of reminds me of that girl from Harry Potter. You know, the one like the one that hides in the bathroom, or who passed away in there. I can't. The name's on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, you see, the sad sheet ghost is literally like a copy paste of Marty's stuff, except just put a spooky image. Whereas Madame Doom's look, actually, her ghost form is kind of that resembling of the transparency of the other ghosts we got, which is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Headless Ghost as well as the Blue Hound Dog. So it has that weird transparency one, whereas the ghosts here don't. It's weird because we have different ghosts that have different different transparency. Like, we got some that actually blend into the scene that's hard to see, and then you got ghosts here that are like solid in nature that you don't really, like, you know what I mean. It's just whatever. Anyways, let's just grab our earbuds. Now let's go to the second one before I forget. The Sleep Master. Kinda, not really, but anyways, he has eyeballs for his enemies. Why? I don't know. But yeah, I got some eyeballs, so let's have him and his eyeballs flying out. The reason with the eyeballs, by the way, was because originally this was supposed to be like the Eye Taker or something like that, the original concept of it. So they're like, okay, yeah, eyeballs. And of course, he does the ookity bookity. So let's do this here. Yep, scare him. And then we got the big eyeballs, if I can find the eyeballs. Where did the eyeballs go? The eyeballs were here. I'm seeing scares. But did they go up here? No. Oh, there are the eyeballs. I found them. Where did they go? Man, they're tiny. I couldn't see anything. So yeah, they're just floating eyeballs. I don't know why people would get scared of floating eyeballs. Like, look at this. Zarwood is a coward. Also, birds right now. It's just summertime right now. A few months later, because again, me be dumb, I forgot to add this character here. Though I'm curious, can I find the Sleep Master again? I actually enjoyed the story because they added a little bit more context with Seder, and just have the story be so dumb that they reuse assets and be like, oh yes, son, I've turned into a body squeezer, and all that said and more. But anyways, I digress. We're done now. Let's go back to his hidey hole. Yep, there we go. Now you can permanently close his shop now because we're done with it. So yeah, those are the two characters I forgot. Back to wherever I inserted this into the video. But we're gonna leave it at that. Now, what else? There was the Easter one, but we've already brief talked about that with Easter. No, that's done. So the next one would be... Ah, right. Welcome to Camp Nightmare. Let's talk about Saber. No, Saber. Saber is interesting as a character because in the book, he was an imaginary monster. In the show, he was an animatronic monster. And in this story, he's actually a real life monster. And it basically kind of follows closely with the thing. Like there's a forbidden bunk and all that other nonsense. But one of the interesting things about it with Saber, if I remember, he is like this weird kind of hermit, leave me alone kind of character that kind of lives on his own. I do like the weird look that he has here going on with the t-shirt and everything. So I don't know what's the deal with Saber as a whole. But if you look carefully, you'll notice that he's wearing a mask over his face, the bland, no name human mask that you kind of expect to see when it comes to these kinds of characters. Yeah, like there he is right there with the weird no emotion mask. That was given to Satyr. And they'd be like, hey, I need you to come down and, because I'm helping Walter out on this camp of his. Why don't you come down and meet? Because, we're kind of camping in your area, so why not? So he kind of does it, and he becomes a timid beast of sorts. So he's kind of like being a part of the group. And for some reason, like, the kids were playing stupid, where they're like, oh, yeah, you're just a weird kid, but, you look cool, right? So then that stuff kind of happened, and then revealed he's a monster, so while he's in the mask, he kind of acts normal, but then when he's not, spooky monster form. So let's go ahead and summon him from his scene. So then we get to the good ones, which I'm so looking forward to, as you can probably hear from my excitement. Alright, so this is Sabers House. It looks very nice. Well, actually, no, this is Sabers House. Isn't that nice? And this is the Forbidden Bunk. No, that's the beast statue. That's not what I want. There we go, the Forbidden Bunk. Now, as you notice, there's a bunch of other sabers, and then there's the normal saber. I'm not really a fan when they do this recolored thing where it's like the same monster but different. I don't know where these guys come from or what kind of creature Saber is exactly, because he's kind of like a weird wildlife cat type character, wolf thing. I don't know. It's weird. They don't really go into detail about it. He's just a beast, and yeah, we're just gonna do it like that. But I digress. So we should just summon this guy up and have some excitement and fun. So there they are. There all of them are hiding in the trees, just like that's what I want. Yep. So you kind of do this. So that's him unmask. And it's weird because this is the only way you'll see Saber unmask is to summon him and his clones. And it's weird because he's supposed to be wearing white tank top going on here. If you look at his game model, he's like wearing black. Where did he go? No, he's not up there. I mean, there's his clones. Where does he go? There he is. Like, look. Why is he wearing a black tank top? Oh no, that's not what I want. Yeah, see, look at this guy. Look at this big boy. Look at this guy. Look how huge he is. Well, he's not really huge compared to someone else, but yeah, look how these characters react. It's just so... Yeah, there's not much to talk about when it comes to Saber, because most of these special stuff I kind of talked about previously on their own part. Oh, god dang it. Slappy, why? Just have you, dude, they'll have you do this for now so you're out of the way. Okay, cool. All guys are done. So let me just get my smell and go back to Saber here. So yeah, that's kind of the scene, and this is him as a character. We have yet to get the book back into here again. It'll be interesting to see that. And yeah, nothing much with this guy. He just kind of was introduced, and that's it. So we'll have to come to the campfire. Oh, one thing I'll note. This used to be animated, and now it's frozen, so now it looks stupid. And, they ended up finding a way to animate the other stuff, so why not fix this? That would be nice. Also, he's kind of not in the right position anymore. But yeah, I remember he used to be over there and him dancing on top of the whatever you call it. But yeah, whatever, fine. He can dance like an idiot over here, doing the weird weird aware things are dance going on. I guess I don't know. Sorry, again, you can tell. All right, okay. Let's talk about the next update that came along. This was when bad things started to happen. This is when the game start losing their game designer, or team lead, and we resulted in some of the weirdest and bad books that got added. Namely, let's talk about Please Don't Feed the Vampires. Let's talk about Yvonne. Yvonne is interesting as a character. She, in the story, is an actress. And what's interesting is that originally in the book, not in the book, but yeah, in the book, she was just a vampire that they come across, and then that was kind of it. And then in the actual movie, the Jack Black one, her minions were the portrayal of what she looked like. So that's kind of interesting to say. But in the story, she's basically looking for Nightwing because she's in love with him, and it's probably maybe implied that she and her clan of vampires kind of made an alliance with the Nightwing clan, I guess. So, she has some interesting animation, and she does look pretty for a weird character. It's not much to talk about. Again, I went in depth with the special, so this is gonna be like, oh boy. So that's that there. But let's talk about Doggy. Yeah, Beefy. Look at that cute girl. There she is. What a good puppy. All right, so Fifi. Fifi is the dog to Brooke, which is surprising because she was the main protagonist character. You, the reader, dog. So this is what she looks like over here, kind of walking around like a French poodle. There she is. And she's basically looking like the design that she does described into the story. So I'll give them credit for that. It's weird because in the cover art, they had her be like a black poodle, which is incorrect. Not to mention they got the gender wrong in the book, but I've went into details with all this stuff here. But yeah, we've got this cute pupper. She does all this type of stuff here. But that's that character. So let's talk about their scenes. These females as scenes. These women. There she is. There it is. Yeah. This is the film set. What does this have to do with vampire? Please don't feed the vampires. Nothing. But screw it. Let's just deal with it. This is the film set, and this is where they have their scene. So I guess the theory of this is supposed to be that she is a vampire, but she plays as a vampire, like a countess, like I guess, like say Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, I guess, but in movies. So she and her minions, and eventually Fifi, who ended up eating the vampire in a can packet, which resulted in her being vampiric, and yeah. She ended up getting a vampire dog, but the dog itself seems like she can control her vampireness, so it's not that bad, I guess. So I guess superpowers for her, because Marty was an idiot. But you can have fun with watching that scenes. But yeah, I digress. So here's that scene playing out. So there is these are minions. These are Yvonne, as in the film. There's Fifi as a creepy monster. No, Frederick, you don't get to be free. This is Yvonne, but in her wedding bride gown, which is weird. I actually saw this before, and I thought, okay, this was gonna be this was probably gonna be Dracula's or Count Nightwing's minions, the weird Yvonne looking thing. But no, that didn't turn out to be the case. And then Fifi over here is a creepy doggy looking thing. Like, look at this over here. So she's gonna go over here, bark at him, run away, and goes after the next victim, as a poodle will do, because scary vampire. Yeah, so she's gonna go after. Oh well, no, they're not done. I don't know who she's going after necessarily. I think unless she's going after this. Yeah, she's okay. Yeah, so they attack, and this is her place, the nice vampire place. This was considered to be, as of right now, the worst event ever made by the game developers, and it is now marked as the do never do this again kind of thing. How they've kind of handled it. So there's that. Um, there's some interesting ones we can do here. Let's just have her do this one, the scratch fleas, because that's cute. She's just walking around, and then she occasionally stops to scratch. Again, she has some interesting animation, which I did think I showcased before. So there she goes, cute little girl. And then we'll have Yvonne. Yeah, we have some ones. Let's have her become a vampire bat, because I think she's the only kind of vampire that turns into a bat like this. Whereas her husband is just this weird monstrosity, which I love. But yeah, this is her. This is her turning into a vampire bat and whatnot. So that's cute. Yeah, I like that. That's nice. It's very very nice. So there's that, and that's that character. So now let's talk about Compton. Compton dolls. Oh, I see. Compton is a he is Richard through and through. He is heavily based on the design from the episode that it's based off of, because in the original story he was more younger and this weirdly appearance, and he actually plays more like a shady businessman rather than the kind of timid type of, oh, you should move into the house and blah blah blah. And it's interesting because in the remake story, they implied, like, when the event came up, they implied that Yvonne was the one who turned Compton into a weird vampire zombie monster. Whereas in the revisited version, when it came up, they took that part out and just had it be the fact what Frederick said. It's like, oh, these guys, these poor things must have got the chemical reaction, basically just like it was in the story. So I give him credit for that, I guess. We got to miss a whole lot of dialogue, but whatever. I guess that's the case. We finally got his animations back, but a lot of people weren't happy because in order to get them, you have to actually buy into them, because all the three of these are the animations in question. And what's weird too is that the animation exclusives for this event didn't come into the other characters, like say Chuck and Dr. Fredericks, at all. So instead, you just had this weird guy who just, that's all he does. He was just walking around, kind of doing nothing. I mean, he was kind of helpful for some of the events, but not really. Other than that, he's just was kind of there. I do like the fact they kind of develop on his story, and he kind of made his whole thing developed. Like, I'll give you an example. In the beginning of the game, you could probably see this in my playthrough when this update came out. But if you were to look at over here, yeah. So this place, this Dark Falls chemical factory, used to be a nice place. Used to be nice and clean and fancy. But then the other event came around in 2020, and then it turned into this monstrosity, which I assume it's because the plant got shut down, and this is the monstrosity we are left with, I guess. But yeah, let's talk about his place over here. So this is the scene in question, the dead house. And what's interesting about the dead house is that this is 100% taking based off of the cover art of the same book. If I go over here to specials, there it is. There's the dead house, 100% red lights and all, which I love that kind of detail here. And something interesting too, these Darkfall minions or citizens over here, I think it's based off of the if give me a correction here. I'm trying to think of what the kid's name was, but the design was also taking place on the what do you call it? The not the chemicals, but was taking place of the same episode with one of the kids, the male kid, the boy. And yeah, this is exactly what he looks like, but in zombie form, of course. And this is what their scene's like. So, he basically they turn all gray and then they start jumping around like zombies. Whereas I like to call them the like vampire zombies in Japan, where they just have their arms out and then bounce up and down. It's kind of weird with the color scheme that they kind of grayed out, but I do like how they look. Like especially these minions in Compton, they kind of really like. Again, we don't really get to see much of Compton monster form, but we do see him in his normal form, which is fun. I really do dig the design here, and again, it's just fortunate because again, both Yvonne and Compton, like their whole thing, like they had potential to be good, and of course they kind of fixed him a little bit. But at the end of the day, he still sucks when it comes to his whole event and story and all that. It's just like, you know. But what can you do? But yeah, he's that type of character. It's funny too because his building is like Better Call Dawes, which is a nod to a Walking Dead character, Sal. Because they had this business called Better Call Sal. But yeah, there's that. But anyways, let's go to Compton. Unfortunately, the only animations he can do is just do the other stuff. So let's have him do something appropriate. Let's have him carry my Goosebumps money. Look at all them Goosebucks. He stole it from my account and he's just bill wagging it all around the town because, he wants to show off. This is all the money he took from HorrorTown. And I love it too because when they showed this off in the animation, people were upset. Just like, oh, yeah, what a great way to show off of him rolling around the barrel to kind of infiltrate to say that, oh yeah, this is the game designers taking away their money. But I digress. But we're gonna move on to some happier ones now. So let's go ahead and talk about this next character. Anyways, the next character in question is that of Jonathan Chiller. Oh, yes, Jonathan Chiller himself. There he is. Mr. Smithy. Anyways, I digress. Jonathan Chiller, he looks exactly like he does in his cover art that I think Brandon did, which is awesome. He's described to be a Benjamin Franklin kind of looking character. And it's weird because he's very timid and all that stuff and more. And what's bizarre about him is that when this update came up for Halloween, it was like Horrorland Carnival, but really it was based on the book, Horrors at the Chiller House, which is its own thing. I kind of went in depth with the whole thing with them. But yeah, Jonathan Chiller, he owns the Chiller House, which is a scene that is, and this is the first time, the scene I do not have and I'm waiting for. You see, when the game came out, they started to kind of give people some updates and some scenes, but out of all the scenes for 2019, this is the only one that has not become available yet for purchase or to get bought. It was only available as of right now for the Halloween back in 2019, and I'm waiting patiently to see that thing come back because really I want that scene into my place. And by golly, I want to summon the horrors and have them kind of go around because I really did like and digged how they looked. But that is the only scene I do not have of him. But it does exist, and at some point in this existence of the game, it will come into the fray, and hopefully that will come with the book itself. But I digress. Spooky month has arrived, which means that I finally got my hands on the Chiller House, which is the last scene I ever needed for the 2019 completion. So I might as well show you this right here. This was the house in question that was presented back in the Horrorland Carnival event. And as you can see, we got, Chiller himself playing as one of the chefs. And then, of course, we got the horrors themselves. So let's go ahead and spawn these guys and see what pops up. And give you a good look at what these guys are again. So, like, you get to see these guys in nice quality. Because last time the quality was a little bit more blurry because of the size change and difference. This one's a little bit more of a wider screen, except it's scrunched up. So you got to see there's these characters. As you notice, the horrors just kind of do this brr like boogie, like a boo, right? They gotta go brr. Meanwhile, Chiller himself, he just goes in for the kill. He just goes swiping people. Like, look at this. Swipe, swipe. And then he just runs around like a maniac. I think the last time I said that he kind of reminds me of a monkey with his arms up in the air like this, right? To go spooking. Meanwhile, the horror is just kind of. And by the way, they never really go into depth with the horrors in this game's lore. But I've always imagined that these guys are like inflatable, like inflatable creatures or ogres or whatever you call them. Because when you pinch them, they deflate like balloons. And, the only thing that kind of reminds me of that is like, squeaky stuff. But, yeah. Anyways, we got ourselves our Horrorland ticket. And the cooldown time is about 2 hours. So, yeah, there you go. So that is the Chiller House scene that I've missed. So now we're gonna return back into the game. But anyways, Jonathan Chiller. He's weird. He's an awkward kid, and he was an awkward kid, and now he's an awkward man. And they kind of felt true with the story with him, and I felt bad for him in a sense, just because of how weird he is as a character. But other than that, he's really like, look at this guy. He looks very like, you think he looks like a villain, and he kind of is, but not really. He's like a business. I really dig his looks though. He looks so cool. But I digress. But one of the interesting thing is, he plays with his horror figure dolls. It's kind of weird too, because although he was like a shop owner in the Horrorland shop, it's kind of alluding to the fact that Horrorland was a thing that this guy made. And I'm kind of hoping that's the case, because that would be an interesting idea, that this guy is the Walt Disney to Disneyland of sorts, just because of the weird way of him doing it. And I digress, but it's fun. But something interesting too is that he does have a monster form, and unfortunately for me, I'm able to show that off, which is this right here. So this isn't like, here's the thing. Jonathan Chiller isn't a horror or a monster of sorts. If anything, this character right here is one of the dolls in question that his friends were. And it's one of them was a chef. I'm not sure what the chef's name was, but this is the monster form that they decided to give Chiller to pretend as. And if I'm remembering correctly, I believe in the story he was able to shift into these characters' toys wise. I don't know. It's weird because he wanted to go ahead and go for the hunt, as it were. But yeah, this is the only closest thing we can get to show a horror off. And yeah, it's interesting. So this is the monster form they chose for him. And I guess appropriate, maybe. I don't know. It's your choice. Right, let's go and talk about Granny. Yeah, Grandma. So this is Grandma, the Russian, I guess, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I watched some YouTubers, one of them being Russian. There's a lot of good Russian YouTubers, but if I remember correctly, through their language, I believe this, this is like a nice little old lady pretending to be uh Dustin's grandmother from the Ukraine. I think it's been a while, so I don't remember exactly where she said she was from, but I know she was in the motherland area for sure, in the east. And that was the story, but really she's an alien, weird alien creature. I don't think she is anything to do when it comes to the race of a squeezer like Fleshman is. They might be in a rival alien species, but she seems like the type to be like, oh, I want to be the queen. I want to be the ruler. So she ends up taking over Fleshman's goals of redoing everything back, and it's weird. I love the story they kind of did, and what I love too is, I've mentioned too, this wasn't the original grandmother here. It was actually something else. It was actually Emily's grandmother that was supposed to be the alien, but things changed, and now she's the grandmother here. And what's interesting about it with this, I guess the proper word is that the alien decided to go make a OC of sorts, and goes and pretend, and now she's pretending to be Babagusha. I think is what they refer to it in Russia, which is like a little old lady, like a babushka. I think that's how you pronounce it, but I might have butchered that. I'm sorry, but they call them little Russian old ladies, and that's the design she does here. And what's funny is that they were heavily kind of inspiring this to be the Squeezer Revolution, to be that of the USSR, heavily, and I think I know why. They decided to put in both stories, like both of the secret agent grandma that she comes from, both of the stories in together, because in one story you either find out your grandmother is a secret agent, or the other story is that you go with the fake grandma, which is the alien. So in this case, she pretended to be a grandmother that Dustin have never heard of, but she's like, okay, well, this is my granny, I guess. And what's funny is that eventually, they find out, hey, grandma, why are you acting so weird and all that? And she's like, I'm actually a spy, famous Russian spy. I'm getting here because Mortman's an alien, kind of thing, right? And kind of pretending this role, and then it's revealed that, nah, you fools, I am the queen. I am this queen of the squeezers. In fact, so much so that I've decided to take over the hatchery, which, by the way, I don't know how this happened, but apparently weird purple gunk came all over the place, and we got these eggs because this is the squeezer hatchery. So, um, this this is what she looks like, by the way, the real Grandma. Like, she doesn't have a name, by the way. She just goes by Granny. I mean, she does have a name, like OC, for it, but it's so long and convoluted, I'm just not gonna say it. So it is short for Granny or Grandma. And what's interesting with Grandma here is that, if I'm recalling, hopefully we get to see her again soon, but this scene in question, Squeezer Hatchery, was actually just available in January, and only that was it. It was just like a single pack. So maybe it'll come back eventually, but for now, it was just kind of like a one and done thing. So, yeah, this is one of those things where you could have gotten it real quick, but yeah, whatever. But let's go ahead. But yeah, she's like, I'm gonna be the queen of them all, so I'm gonna have the babies, which is like adorable. We don't get to see them in the dialogue either, which is unfortunate. But yeah, look, so this is the little baby squeezers. Look how adorable they are. You just want to pinch their cheeks. They're so cute. And they got this ugly grandma, of like real alien monster. Like, look how cute they are. And then look at this chick. And she's like Mortman has her flesh, fake flesh in the back, kind of flopping there, kind of alluding to like the one in the cover art, but not really. I mean, they kind of designed the alien to be like the one from the book. I kind of think the one they designed originally for Emily's grandmother was very close to the original source material, but I digress. It's what it is. They wanted to make this grandma to be the grandma, so it's like, okay, whatever. This is canonly grandma now, so deal with it, you know. But yeah, we got these two things: the cute little baby squeezers, and then we got the big boy, the queen of sorts. But then she failed at her own misery because she was trying to go after the aliens with this weird concoction, but it turns out that this thing actually went after her as well. So she's like, "Oh, it backfired on me because I'm an idiot." But whatever. Yeah, but she has. That was the only time you get to see her in her alien form. Other than that, she just does this weird stuff where it's like, like fate letters, and try new ingredients, interest your family call, which is weird. Sorry, but yeah. This Russian grandma. So let's have her write fake letters, and near her bus stop. That this is her bus stop, by the way. But yeah, she's laughing like a maniac, going like, like she's just yucking it up because she's so evil, right? Oh, dastardly plans. I'll go as a babushka, and no one will be ever the wiser. Yes, and I love it too because most of these buildings are really based off of some of the ones from Russia. Uh, by the way, like there are certain places in Russia that actually looks really nice, especially the Soviet Union post era. Like they really have nice stuff, but there are certain areas that are like, oh boy, ooh, not the best. And a lot of people in Russia will have no problem showing it off and be like, yeah, look at this, this is Russia, this is my hometown. Right, so I figured we're coming close to finishing 2019 and going to 2020, and I feel like 2020 is gonna be a little while, so this will probably, honestly, this might be a part, like a 10-part thing just for me to show off all my stuff. So let's go ahead and talk about my favorite one. One that I'm going to go into more detail in the special book eventually when I get close to it, unless it's posted now. I doubt it. No, it's probably not, but hopefully it will be. The Shop Till You Drop Dead, the Mayfield Bazaar. I mentioned before, this is actually based off an actual building, or what used to be a building, and I really did dig how they designed everything here. But yeah, let's talk about my event. Reggie. Reggie Mayfield. This kid right here. Oh boy. This is got to be one of the more interesting characters I ended up making the design for. He's like, what I did was I remember reading the book and I decided to take a lot of inspiration from what the book was suggesting. So I decided to take all the elements from there and decided to make my own image. Now, the reason why I made him the way he is because part of it was thinking the name Reggie as like with former Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aimé, but then also the fact that the bazaar is a weird Eastern culture type thing. So I'm like, maybe he's an Indian descent. So I tried to make him like a business savvy kind of kid, like basically kind of like making it so that this kid is his own unique thing, but also inspired and actually taking a nod to everything that was in the source material, like him being a very good liar, him being a monster that's ticklish, and all that said and more. And the design for Reggie was really just something I looked online, said that this is the look I was kind of going for. I put this nice suit on him, and I'd be like, yeah, there you go. That's what I wanted him to look like. That's basically it. I wanted him to look a certain way, and I think they nailed the Reggie I was looking for. I was like, I had the thing in my head. This is what I Reggie, and then I see it, and I'm just like, yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of. And his monsters are these mannequins that are basically like the mannequin that Amazo used, except they're more fancy dressed and looking nice and more wonky looking and more wonky running around. And I feel like it's because, like I mentioned before, these ones have no real brain. They're just kind of like sentient in a sense, so they just act more crazed compared to the one that Amazo is kind of controlling. But I digress. But yeah, Reggie's monster form, heavily inspired by the cover art of the same. I don't think the cover art was extravagant that it was supposed to be Reggie, but I decided to say, yeah, that's Reggie, all right. And a lot of interesting information with that. But yeah, he's also very heavily inspired. Like when I was thinking of, okay, a monster, what can I make the monster of? And I'm like, okay, he's Krampus. He's a Krampus monster. And decided to like space some inspiration to that of a particular movie of the same name of Krampus, which is like this element right over here. This element, no, not that. This right here, yeah. This Krampus hand and the thing looking in the bulb. But to be fair, although that's my version of what I thought what a Krampus monster could be in this game of sorts, like a kid-friendly game. If you really want the Krampus from that 2016 movie that this was heavily inspired from, in some cases, like the weird teddies and all the items from that, because I wanted to throw inspirations to stuff like that. Don't worry, there he is right there. You can have the real Krampus right. No, not that. Can I grab this guy, please? Can I grab him? No. Can I? Yeah, well, yeah, you get it. This Krampus right over here. This guy. Yeah, there he is. So he's in the game officially, kinda. Just don't tell nobody. It's a little secret. But yeah, anyways, the Mayfield Bazaar. I love this scene, the way the design and everything like that. The make a monster is a nod to all this other stuff here, like This is the actual Goosebumps board game, I believe the Graveyard Games or whatever you call it, which is interesting. It's weird because they made the ghost from Ghost Beach to be like, oh, that's the headless ghost, a ghost kid. And I'm like, no, it's not. But, I digress. It's a bunch of weird stuff. But yeah, there's the Pt.8 chimes, Where Teddy, all this stuff here. Laugh-O-Matic. What's interesting is that recently, and I'll probably bring this up because this was mentioned, and I'm going to bring this up in this own little part, but needless to say, this was heavily inspired. This was actually something I made myself, and I could show you the design of that when I talk about this in its own special video in the Revisited special. But Playboy Vampire, a average user slash creator who has been posting images like drawings and whatnot, said that, hey, this was probably inspired by my work, and I showed it off, and I'm like, huh, I guess two minds think alike, because I've never seen this before, but I can see where the ideas came from, right, and all that type of stuff, but, I digress. And of course, this monster heart attack backpack is actually based off something real. This was actually added by one of the other team members, by the way. I think it was Pedro. I think that's his name, Pedro. Pedro is the main director of directors of sorts. I think yeah, I mean, I've seen him comment on my channel before, twice, by the way. So I know he's watching my videos, or at least he knows of me. And I think I've talked to him briefly on stuff. So he's a cool guy, busy, but I digress. Anyways, I talked long enough. You'll probably want to see more of this stuff here. So let's go ahead and summon these bad boys up and enjoy. So this is how these guys scare, which is weird because you don't know what kind of design these are supposed to be taken based off of, right? These weird creatures. And then of course you got Reggie, who is huge. Like, he's not like big as like the mud monster per se, but compared to like Saber, yeah, this is a big boy, and made it so that his shirt and whatnot rips off because because of the monster form and all that. And I love how these mannequins are so insane. And I think I talked about this before, but the insane of the mannequins actually were more inspired by the ones in the actual the Goosebumps the game, because there's at one point where these monster mannequins come out, and it's quite interesting. But yeah, we got all this stuff here and all these characters and a bunch of this things, just a bunch of stuff, what can you do? But yeah, this is Reggie himself, and they're done here. So let's go ahead and do this and be done with it. There we go. So now let's go to Reggie over here, and let's have him. Oh no, oh no, no, Nightwing, no. Come, show yourself. There you go. Go back and protect the weak ones, buddy. There you go. Now you stay up there. Okay. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, okay, Reggie. So, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff here. And when I was designing, I like, okay, what can I do as animation-wise? One of the animations I figured was be like, well, in case we don't get the scene, I want to see his monster form regardless. So I had him do this one, open the Beastly Present. And I gotta love this as of all, because you got this big monster Krampus monster here, and he's just shaking a box of like a present box, and he's like, oh, so happy. He's like, ooh, I wonder what I get. Like, look at this guy. Look at him. He's still a kid at heart. Look at that. Right, whatever. So I digress. But yeah, that's all 2019 stuff, and that's my event. So I'm gonna be looking forward to talking about my event back when we finally get a chance to do that. Hopefully soon. But yeah, with that in mind, we are almost done. There are 25 characters left, which means 24 characters got introduced last year. That's a lot of characters, holy. Yeah, but 25 characters left to talk about and go. And yeah, I've been holding off this one for a while, but you'll probably know why in the future. But we're going to talk about everyone else in next part. So this is going to be... Yeah, it's starting to look like this is going to be for part 9. So look forward to that. This is like a 10-parter. just to get all this stuff here, so it's gonna be like 4 hours just to go ahead and say this is all I got. So I hope you're enjoying this stuff, you know, filler episodes, and as I'm enjoying talking about this and you know, randomizing all this things. So yeah, I digress. But anyways, I've been Grim. I'll be seeing you next time for more collection of the 2020 collection. So until then, something.